Hi guys, and welcome to this video. You have clicked on a book haul, and I like to do seasonal book hauls, so this is my summer book haul. And every season I always have a ton of books, and I always tell myself I'm not going to buy as many books next time. And then I buy more. I don't know how I accumulated this many books, but I did, and I'm just going to tell them about you. Tell them what? I'm going to tell them about them. So I'm going to talk about them with you. And I'm going to feel really ashamed the entire time that this is how many books I bought. Also, today has been one of those days where I look in the closet and nothing looks good. Everything looks like trash to me. All my clothes, I hate them. It's just one of those days, so you got me in my pajamas today. Hope that's okay. But we do have a ton of books, so let's get started. So the first book that I have to show you is Ship It by Britta Lunton. And at first I originally was not going to purchase this book because I like to wait until books come out in paperback because I prefer paperbacks. But when I saw the hardcover, I had to freaking get it. Oh my god, like, oh, I like looking at it. Isn't that just like so pretty and fun? Oh, so you can tell, I could not say no to that. But also this just seems like a really fun story about a girl who goes to a convention and she gets to ask a question for a panel of like her favorite TV show to one of her like favorite actors in the show. And I think the question was something along the lines of like, would you be okay if your character was gay, or do you think your character is gay, or something like that. And his response was not well received by anyone. His like PR people hire her to kind of like fix the situation that happened, so that's kind of all I know, but it sounds fun. The next books I got were the first 3 books in the School Years series. I believe there's going to be 5 books in the series, but these are the first 3. And the first one is The School for Good and Evil. The second one is A World Without Princes. And the last one is The Last Ever After. And this series is by Soman Chanini. I think I'm just going to hold up the first one. And this is a middle grade series about, there's a school for good and there's a school for evil. And some paperwork misplacement, I guess, happens, and one of the good girls goes to the evil school and one of the evil girls goes to the good school. And it just creates shenanigans from there, I'm guessing, and a great fun adventure fantasy story that I'm very excited to read about. And I've heard wonderful things about this series as well, so I'm looking forward to it. My next are the Book of the Month Club picks that I get. So I got Calypso by David Sedaris. I do not have it anymore because I recently put it in an unhaul, which I can link down below so you can check that out. Because I really didn't like it, which if you also want to know my thoughts on this book, I will link the wrap-up down below. I will link all the wrap-ups down below so you can just check them out. And then because I love books so much, I always like to get the 2 extra books with Book of the Month because they also just have a really great selection of books. And so one of the other ones I picked up was A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. And I've had my eye on this for a very long time, but to be honest, I don't know anything about this book. And I also didn't know it was that big. And then the other one I got is Little and Lion by Brandy Colbert, or Colbert. I don't know how to pronounce the last name, I'm sorry. And this is another one I've had my eye on for a while, and again, I don't know anything about this book either. I just really like this cover, and again, I've heard a lot of people really like this book too, so I wish I could tell you what these books are about, but I don't know. Then I got this book, which has a long title, Dear Ishawale, or A Feminist Manifesto of 15 Suggestions by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And I have read this book. I really liked this book. It's in my June reading wrap-up if you want to go check it out. Then I got Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. This is a classic. I kind of decided that next year, instead of doing read 1 nonfiction book a month, I want to read 1 classic book a month. So I'm trying to get my classics library like ready to go for that next year. So this is one I've always wanted to read and hear great things about. I did watch the movie Sense and Sensibility, so I just really wanted to read the book, and this is also just a really pretty edition. Like, it's gorgeous. I like it a lot. It also just feels really nice. Then I also picked up Dead Letters by Kate Dolan Leach. I picked this up because for my vacation in Florida that you have probably seen by now. We did a book club and this was the book we chose, although I did not finish this until September this month. So this will be in my September reading wrap up. So look forward to that. This is kind of like a mystery thriller, not so much thriller, more just like a mystery about these two twins who one of them is dead and the other one is like trying to solve the death, but also is receiving letters from her dead sister. So she's like, I don't know if my sister's actually dead or alive. I don't know what's going on. So it's just her trying to like follow the clues that her sister is giving her to try to figure out the truth. Then I got the Darkest Minds trilogy and the like little novellas by Alexandra Bracken. So we've got The Darkest Minds, Never Fade, which I'm currently reading, In the Afterlight, and then Through the Dark, the collection of like novellas from the series. So let's just hold up the first book, so we don't want to hold up all of them. I have already read The Darkest Minds, the first book in the series. You can watch that in my August reading wrap-up. I really enjoyed this book a lot, so I'm excited to get to the next books. As you can tell, I'm already starting to read the second book, Never Fade. And this is just a really fun young adult dystopian like fantasy series about these kids with superpowers and the government's trying to take them down, but we mainly follow Ruby, who is an orange, one of like the most dangerous of the kids that you can be, because they categorize each kid's powers by color, and orange is a very dangerous one to be because they can mess with your mind. It's just fight for survival, but also I guess for like equality as well. They're just trying to be seen as equals and respected, and not have people be so scared of them anymore. But anyway, it's just a really fun ride. It is so much more than that. I'm just trying to give a very quick, short synopsis, but it's very, very fun, and I can't wait to finish the series. The next book I got is Rise of the Isle of the Lost by Melissa De La Cruz. It doesn't say it on here. Wow, that's weird. And this is the third and final book in the Descendants trilogy, so now that I have all three books, I can finally binge read this series. If you don't know, this is also a movie series on the Disney Channel, which I very much love. The first movie's okay. The second movie is so much better, and I cannot wait for the third movie to come out. It's going to be so fun and exciting, and I can't also wait to read the book series about it. But this basically follows the kids of villains and heroes from like your favorite Disney movies and stuff. Like we follow the daughter of Maleficent, the daughter of the evil queen from Snow White. We follow the son of Beast and Belle, and yeah, they all go to like school together, and it's just really, really fun. Then I won a book in a Goodreads giveaway, and that is Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows by Bali Kaur Jaswal. I probably totally butchered that name, and I'm so terribly sorry. And again with this, I actually don't know anything about this book, but I know that Reese Witherspoon recommends it. I know that my friend, who whenever she recommends books to me, they're always great books. She recommended this book to me, and I just heard really great things about it, so I do want to read this book. And of course I won it, so I got it for free. I'm not going to turn down free books ever. Then I got Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, and this is another book I don't know anything about. As you can tell, there is a trend. I tend to buy books I don't know anything about, but I have heard wonderful things about this book. Also, she is the author of Little Fires Everywhere, which is another book I have to read, but that book has gotten so much praise as well, and I've heard it might be turning into a movie, like sometime next year. We'll see if that's actually true or not. But I do want to read Celeste Ng's books because I hear nothing but great things about them. Next, I got Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. And this sounds so interesting. It's about a true crime author. Not true crime, just crime. He writes books about crime. And that's pretty much all I know. I think like his next book that he's writing, and like someone's reading the manuscript, and it kind of turns into like a real live murder mystery, I guess. I'm not 100% sure on it, but it sounds really interesting, and I'm always up for a good crime book. Then I got Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This book, I have heard so many great things about it. Like, everybody loves this book so freaking much, and they recently got brand new covers, and I really like this cover. And also, the second book is coming out very soon. I'll probably wait till that comes out in paperback. But this also just seems like a really interesting book. I'm not 100% sure on it, but I know it has something to do with like good and evil, and is there gray somewhere in between, and it just kind of like deals with that topic, and that sounds really interesting to me. And also everyone just really loves this book a lot, and I have read a short story by V.E. Schwab, and I absolutely loved it, and I'm really interested in reading more from her writing. Next, I got The Little Mermaid and Other Fairy Tales by Hans Christian Andersen. Do you see how gorgeous this is? So I've been really interested in the like original Little Mermaid story that's not the Disney version of it, but they don't have like just that, unfortunately, that I could buy. So I got the whole like collection of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales, and I feel like I can use this for my classics next year. I'm actually excited to read about like all these other stories as well, because you also have Thumbelina, The Princess and the Pea, The Emperor's New Clothes, The Ugly Duckling, and it seems really interesting and fun, and it's just, I don't know, I'm excited about this. I also got Emma in the Night by Wendy Walker. I've been in the mood for thrillers, and this was a thriller, and it was on sale for $5. I don't even know what it's about, but I remember hearing about it when it first came out, and people were really liking it. I want to get to this thriller eventually. I don't know when. We'll see. Then, did you know that Michaels sells books? Well, apparently the one that I go to does, and they have really beautiful editions of books, so I ended up getting 3 of them, and these are the 3 I got. I have already read one of them, and that is this, The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. And oh my god, do you see how pretty? Oh my god, and like I just love that it has texture too, and then like the inside, like, oh my god, these books are so gorgeous. But I have already read this, and it is it in my June wrap-up? It's either in my June or July. Just watch all of them, you'll see. But if you don't know, this is about an opera house in France, and there's apparently a ghost haunting it, but we follow 3 people. We follow the ghost. We also follow the girl that the ghost has fallen in love with, Christine Daae, and we also follow Vicomte de Chigny, who is in love with the girl, and so it kind of becomes like this love triangle, and so the ghost keeps trying to get him away, and yeah, it's kind of like more than just that, because you find out about the ghost and the ghost's past and what he really is. Then I also picked up Peter Pan, because this is just freaking gorgeous. Like, I don't know where they got these beautiful books, but they have them. And Peter Pan, I don't know if you don't know the story. Okay, if you don't know the story, look it up, because you should know about what Peter Pan is about. I'm not going to tell you. And then the other one I got is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This, if I'm correct, is like the oldest known book that we still have. Like, this is from BC times. Who knows why I picked up The Art of War? I don't. Maybe just because I thought it was really pretty, because it freaking is pretty. But I actually do want to read this. I don't think I'll read this during classics, because I don't even know if this is considered classic. It might be, but I don't think I'll read this during the classics for next year. I think I do eventually want to get to read this, because I hear this mentioned in so many TV shows and movies. Next, I got Neverwell Wake by Marisha Pessl, and I am currently reading this and currently loving it. So spoiler alert, loving it. This is like a young adult thriller. I'm not sure if I've gotten quite to the thriller part just yet, but this is about a group of friends who find themselves in a place called Neverworld, and it's pretty much where they have all kind of like died, but in this Neverworld they live the same day over and over and over again, and until they decide which one of them is going to live and the other have to die. And it's just a very interesting concept, and I'm really enjoying it a lot. Then I got The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and this, I believe, is considered a modern classic, which is one of the reasons why I picked it up, because I want to use it for my classics next year. But also, I have just heard really amazing things about this book, and it seems like something I will really like. So this is about a guy who finds a book called The Shadow of the Wind, and he really enjoys the book. So when he tries to find like books by the same author, he finds out that someone is going around like destroying all these books and trying to get rid of every single one of this author's books, and it's about it's about like this mystery of him trying to figure out why this person's doing that. Then I picked up The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I've heard a lot about Ruth Ware's books, and this is one I've been really intrigued by, The Woman in Cabin 10, and it finally came out in paperback, so I picked it up. I've been really in the mood for thrillers, so again, I picked up a thriller. So this woman is on like this cruise ship, and she hears like the woman in the cabin next to her like scream or whatever, and then jump overboard or get pushed overboard or something like that. And she tries to like raise alarm, I guess, to like everyone else, like, hey, there's like someone just jumped off the ship, blah blah blah. But no one really cares, and everyone's just like, but everyone that's supposed to be on the ship is on the ship. And so it's just her trying, I guess, to like solve what happened. Was it all in her mind? Was it not? Like, whatever. So it seems really interesting, and I can't wait to give Ruth Ware a try. I've heard mixed things about Ruth Ware, but I want to see where I fall, if I like her, if I don't like her. Then I bought another thriller, surprise surprise. I bought Manhattan Beach by Jennifer Egan. This is one I've had my eye on as well, and it finally came out in paperback, so I got it. And to be honest, I don't know a whole lot about this book. I'm just really intrigued by the cover and honestly intrigued by the title. All I really know is that there is like a disappearance. Like, I think this woman's dad disappears, and it's just her trying to figure out that. The next book I got was Beartown by Fredrik Backman. I read a Fredrik Backman book. I read A Man Called Uwe, and I really enjoyed it, and so I want to get his other books and start reading them. And so this is one I picked up. This is one I think I've heard the most good things about. Like, everyone seems to really like this book, and the second book in this duology, I'm guessing, came out recently. All I know about this, it's about a town that really loves hockey. But I have a feeling it's going to be so much more than that, and I've heard it is heartbreaking. So I'm actually really excited to read this book and get into this series. Then I bought, surprise surprise, another thriller. I bought You by Caroline Kepnes, mainly because the TV show, it has already aired and has already come out, and I've been watching it, but I still haven't read this. I wanted to read this before I watched it, but I never got to this book, unfortunately. So hopefully I will get to this soon. But I just love the way that this book is written, because it's written in first perspective. Like, basically it's just like, you walked to the grocery store and that man is following you, or like, it really like puts you into the story, and that just makes this book even so much creepier. But again, all I know about this, because I've only watched the first episode of this show so far, and it's about like this guy and this girl that kind of like go on dates, and they start really liking each other, but he starts becoming like obsessive and kind of stalkerish, and it gets a little creepy. So we'll see where the story goes with the TV show, and then hopefully I will eventually get to this book. Then Book Outlet had a sale. As you know, I love bookoutlet.com. Definitely go check it out. It's great. They have a great selection for super cheap books, like books for $4, $3, sometimes even $1. But they were having a sale, so I ended up getting 9 books from Book Outlet. The first 2 that I got are by C.S. Lewis. We have The Four Loves and Letters of C.S. Lewis. I really like C.S. Lewis's book, Mere Christianity. I read it for school. I freaking loved it so much. I actually want to reread that book, but I decided I wanted to read some of his other books, and so they had these 2 on there. The Four Loves, it just talks about the 4 different types of love. You have affection, friendship, eros, and charity. And it's also super cheap, super short. It was super cheap as well, but it was also super short, so it worked. And then I did not realize this was going to be this long, but these are letters of C.S. Lewis, and these are just letters that he wrote to friends and family about anything and everything, I guess, just like his personal letters. Why not? Then I also picked up None of the Above by I.W. Gregorio, and I have been really interested in this book since it came out, but I finally found a price that I really liked for it. And I've been really interested in this book because the main character is, I believe, intersex. And I've never read from the perspective of someone who considers himself intersex. They're not quite male, they're not quite female, they don't know what they consider themselves. And it's just about that. And it seems really interesting, and I can't wait to eventually get to this. Then I bought The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. And I have heard wonderful things about this book. And I don't know too much about it except that we follow 4 different people who live in Alaska, and I'm assuming their lives kind of intersect with each other somehow, some way. But yeah, everyone seems to love this book, so I want to love it too. Then I also decided to get a duology, and that is the This Savage Song duology. What is this duology called? I don't know. But it's by Victoria Schwab, aka V.E. Schwab. Again, I want to get all of her books so I can read them because I really like her writing. So of course the first one is This Savage Song, and then the second one is Our Dark Duet. And this is a young adult like fantasy duology about monsters and humans kind of living, like coexisting together, and I think a monster and a human fall in love with each other. Is that like a Romeo and Juliet type thing that's going on here? I don't know, but I have heard incredible things about this series, so I want to read it. Then the next book I got is Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. I actually read this book when I was in elementary school, and that was so long ago that I honestly can't remember anything about this book, even though I have read it. I just remember really liking this book, and I don't know what happened to my copy of the book, so when I saw this for super cheap on Book Outlet, I of course had to go get it, and I can't wait to read it again, and it's super short, like it's less than 200 pages. Then I bought the first 2 books in a series, and that is the Wayward Children series by Seanan McGuire. I got Every Heart a Doorway and Down Among the Sticks and Bones. Every child like has a door, and like the door will open for them, and then when the door opens for them, I guess like their story starts. But I know this one we follow like Jack and Jill, but they're kind of like a dark take on those types of children, I guess. I'm not sure what Every Heart a Doorway is about. I just know we follow an asexual character in this, which I really want to read about an asexual character. That'd be really fun. And now let's talk about my picks for Book of the Month for July. I got Ghosted by Rosie Walsh. I liked this. I read this. You can see it in my July wrap-up, so go check that out. Then I also picked up another one that was in July, and that is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, and I really loved this book. This was in my August reading wrap-up, so go check that out because I really loved this book. And then I also picked up The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. I have heard really great things about this book, and this also seems really interesting. It's a romance book, but from like the perspective of someone with Asperger's. So I'm excited about that, to be honest. I've never read a book with someone who has Asperger's, so hello representation, yes! Finally to the third and final pile that I have here. And the first book on this pile is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Lady Taylor. This is the first in a fantasy series that I honestly don't know how to describe, and I don't think anyone knows how to describe. I've just heard really great things, and so I have the first book. I just want to get the final 2 books in the series, and then I can finally like binge read it. Then I also got The Little Friend by Donna Tartt. I have been wanting to read a Donna Tartt book for so long, and I do own one of her books. I own The Goldfinch. I haven't read it yet, but I do want to read her books because I heard really great things about every single one of her books, and so when I saw The Little Friend was on sale for like $8, I got it. Then I won another Goodreads giveaway. I just seem to keep winning them for some reason, and so I won Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco. I do have the first book in the series. I don't have the second one yet, but this is the third in the series, and I believe there's going to be a 4th one, and I think that might be the last one. I'm not 100% sure. This one, as you can tell, Escaping from Houdini, we've got someone who I guess is like obsessed with Houdini, and it kind of turns into like a crazy fantasy world, I guess. I'm not 100% sure on this series. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people like it, some people don't. So I kind of want to see where I fall because these books do seem really interesting. The first book in the series is called Stalking Jack the Ripper, and the second one is Hunting Prince Dracula. So in case you want to check out the series as well. But I'm excited to eventually get to this, so thank you Goodreads for giving me another book. Then I picked up Tiger Lily by Jodi Lynn Anderson, and I at first wasn't going to pick this up, but I've heard someone talk like amazing things about this book, and it also seems really interesting. So basically this is about Tiger Lily from Peter Pan, but I think we just follow Tiger Lily's story like from the Peter Pan story, but it's like her perspective and her version of the story. I think that's what this is. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. Then I also got House of Furies by Madeleine Rowe, or Rowe. I never know how to pronounce her last name. But I have read her Asylum series, and I really liked her Asylum series. So when I found out she wrote another series, I was like, yes. So I picked up the first book in that series. The second book is out, but it's not on paperback yet, so I will wait for that to come in paperback. And this just seems like another very like creepy, scary story from her, and I'm excited about it. Now let's talk about the August book of the month books that I got. I had to think about how to phrase that sentence for a second. So the pick I chose is The Line That Held Us by David Joy. This is kind of like a Western crime story. That's all I'm going to tell you because I have read this. It's in my August wrap-up, so go watch that if you want to know about this book. Then, because as I've mentioned earlier, I like to get the 2 extra books with Book of the Month, I did get 2 extra books. And one of them was Final Girls by Riley Sager. I really loved The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, so I wanted to get his other book, Final Girls. And again with this one, I remember when this came out, I heard a lot of great things about it, but I never picked it up. So now I finally am picking it up, and I'm going to read it. Because I want to, really bad. But I don't know anything about it. Sorry. Then I also got Still Lives by Maria Hummel. And this cover just really intrigues me a lot, but also it's kind of like a mystery with an art heist. So that sounds really interesting as well. I haven't heard that many great things about this book, but honestly, the topic of the book just really intrigues me so much that I want to read it anyway. Then I picked up Catwoman Soul Stealer by Sarah J. Maas. I am currently reading this, and this is the 3rd in the DC Icons series. I have read the first 2 books. The first one is Wonder Woman, the second one is Batman, and so now I got Catwoman. I'm excited. I usually am not into superheroes, but I really like these authors, so I'm gonna read their stuff. And so this one, yeah, it's about Catwoman. That's all you need to know. Then I picked up The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. This is an adult fantasy, and I found out that this is actually the first in a series, so this is the only one out right now, but I have heard incredible things about this book. Like, everyone loves this book, but it is, of course, humongous. I love this cover, and I like what people are saying about it, so I'm gonna read it. That is all I really need to know about a book for me to buy it, as you can tell. The next book I got was Be More Chill by Ned Vizzini. I read the book, it's kind of a funny story by Ned Vizzini, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. I freaking love that book. And I did not know that he wrote another book, and that is this book. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to read it. It also is pretty short. It kind of reminds me of Limitless a little bit, but we follow this kid in high school, and he ends up taking this pill that kind of makes him like a supercomputer. And that's all I know, but I really want to read another Ned Vizzini book. Then I got The Silver Mask by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, and this is the 4th book in a middle grade children's series that has to do with magic. That's all I really know, but I also really love Cassandra Clare. She's one of my favorite authors, so I'm going to read her. I have not read anything by Holly Black, but I've heard good things about her books as well. Then I got Autobiography by Christina Lauren. I have heard really great things about Christina Lauren's writing, but this I think is like her only young adult romance book, so I wanted to pick it up. But also it's about a boy-boy romance, and I've heard it's really cute, and I'm really excited about it. Then I picked up another Victoria Schwab book, and that is City of Ghosts, and this is her most recent one. This just came out literally last month, and I'm excited about it. This is a middle grade book about a girl whose parents are like on a ghost hunting show, so they like always go to these like haunted places and hunt for ghosts, and that's all I know about it. And I'm assuming she goes on some sort of adventure during one of the locations with ghosts, and it sounds really fun, and I definitely want to read this in October because it definitely feels more like an October read to me. Then I have Saga Volume 6 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I've been reading the Saga series and really enjoying it. It is a graphic novel series. It's kind of like a sci-fi Romeo and Juliet, but it is a lot more than that. It's just there's too much to talk about that I can't go too much in depth about it. Or else I also will spoil things. But I finally got the 6th volume, and I have read this. It wasn't my favorite in the series, but you can see more of my thoughts on that in my August reading wrap-up. Then I picked up And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I have read an Agatha Christie book before. I read her Murder on the Orient Express and I really liked it, so I wanted to pick up another one by her, and so I got this one and it was on sale. So, perfect. And then the last book I got, we're finally here at the end, is Black Klansman by Ron Stallworth. I watched the movie for this book, which you can watch my movie wrap-up for August to see my thoughts on the movie, but I did not know that it was a book until it was at the bookstore and I saw it sitting on a table and I was like, oh my god, wait, this is based off a true story? Wait, Ron Stallworth is a real person? This is a book? I must get it. So of course I picked it up and I can't wait to read it. That is it. Those are all of the books that I bought in summer. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Hopefully next time, I'm going to say it again, I don't buy as many books. We're going to try. I have a system this time and I hope the system works. Anyway, yeah, so that is it for this video, and I will see you guys later with another video. Bye!